a reasonable doubt. And so that's why it's so important as far as with jury pools. Y'all have talked about it on the show in the past, you know, as far as with Black people and the way the system is kind of set up, you know, it's not a lot of Black people that wind up coming for jury duty anyway. I mean, it just isn't. I've been in 12 jury trials now over my time period, and I've never seen an overwhelming number of Black people in any of the trials. And I've been in different cities, you know, doing them. But he could possibly walk if people like that would believe that or believe into this stuff about the militia and all of that. You know, but that's a stretch. I'm just telling you, under the law, it's
I
a
get
stretch.
That. Well, let me bring Brother
time.
Marcus into this conversation because he mentioned earlier about the young man may get off due to self-defense. And Brother Marcus, you heard Kevin mention about the jury pool. You know, Kevin mind is going, he's thinking about where you got to get to in order to prosecute or not to prosecute, dealing with the court system. However, these two young men that were murdered, they were convicted felons. So a jury of the of whose peers, Kyle's or the two young men, most felons cannot even sit in as a juror. So how can it be a fair trial? And two, you mentioned about self-defense. They're saying that the young man feared for his life and he had to take out another individual in order for him to live.
Oh, they painting a perfect picture for him to get off. The guys, they showing on video where the guys attacked him, ran him into in the middle of the street. He's sitting in the middle of the street, hit him with a skateboard and hollering names at him. So they building a powerful defense to try to create self-defense. Now, he shouldn't have been there from the beginning, and he should be charged with murder straight up without no hesitations or whatever the case may be. But because of the law of the land, he's going to possibly get off. But you got to look at the jury pool. You talk about the jury pool. The makeup of Kenosha is 71% white, 10% Black, and 3% others, and this and that. But he's going to get a jury of his peers, people who believe like he believes or feel like he protecting that particular city. But this is all supposed to be stemmed from Jacob Blake situation. You see what I'm saying? You know, Black Lives Matter. But all these people involved in this situation are European white people, you know, standing out protesting about something that they really have no real understanding of. Because the guy got shot in the back and the tension is heightened in America about Black people getting shot, this and the third. So they come out in droves and, you know, they creating chaos and mayhem, you know, and people understand this, but we don't understand it. We out here standing out here with these dudes protesting like this. We shouldn't be protesting like this. We should go straight to the throat. Prosecuting DA, Wisconsin Attorney General. We go straight at those individuals to make sure these people that actually did something to Blake has their day in court and get prosecuted for the situation in which they encounter. You know, and all this protesting wouldn't even happen. You know, but we standing in the street waving signs and pumping our fists up. We got to have a new strategy to go at these individuals to combat the situation that happened with us about Jacob getting shot in the back. You know, go straight at the DA, the prosecuting DA. Look, man, you need to charge these police officers. You know, the Wisconsin Attorney General. You know, these people have been in office for a while, man. Nobody is even talking about the corruption that's been laid down in Kenosha. I told you the district attorney prior to Michael Greeley was just Zapoff. Robert Zapoff has just 2 years prior. They got him for corruption in office. You know, they planting guns on two individuals and ultimately prosecute them, and they went to jail. And come to find out that they planted the guns on the individual, and he knew about it. And you know, they made him resign. He retired with probably full benefits, man. You see, this thing is real serious. So if we don't understand the process of understanding the how to get these people out of office, because they are elected officials, That's how we come in, and that's how we should strategize to be able to remove these individuals and stop standing in the street protesting. These Europeans out there fighting and looting and causing chaos and mayhem under the disguise of Black Lives Matter. Man, get out of here.
Well, history has always shown where our white counterparts were always part of every movement, from civil rights to where we are today, the BLM. But you're right. We have to truly evaluate everything and look at the cause and the effect, and ultimately work so we can get to the end, which is the election process, which actually empowers those that are currently in power to prosecute or not. But before we get that, let's look at what you were saying, that the picture has been painted. Let's look at how one of the mechanisms of the theory of BLM, well, I can't say that, but the verbiage that was out there was defund the police. That was going on for a little while. And so when you defund the police, citizens, you take matters into their own hand. And so now you start to weaponize the mob. So,
well, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. I want to bring you in on this, Kevin, because this is what I'm afraid of as an individual. We always start using, defund the police, defund the police. So now, what does the citizen do, the owner of the used car lot? Because if he or she has insurance, more than likely the insurance will not cover a riot, a civil riot or civil commotion. So how do you protect your property?
Well, the thing is that was something that, just like how you said about the verbiage, and it was basically hijacked and turned into something by Trump when people started saying that after George Floyd, with him being killed. And that's when you really started to hear that a lot. Okay, well, what does that mean? Technically, as far as we live in the government, under laws in this country. And so if you were to get rid of the police, then I'm thinking about this philosopher, Leviathan is the book he wrote, Hobbes. And then what you got is chaos in nature, right? That we would just be, I guess, not a bunch of animals and everybody just doing whatever they want, right? Well, the thing is that you need the police, but when they talk, I think that the way that it was misinterpreted about the defunding. What would have to happen is that the way the police structure is set up now with the people, not the police institution itself, but the people that are working there, that there has to be a change in that. If you got some people that just their worldview of how they look at Black people is one way, then those are the ones that you would need to weed out. So, and say the defund, get rid of those, get some people in there that have a different view. Now it's easier said than done, but I think what happened was that regarding just to say the phrase defund the police, it was hijacked. And so you had a lot of people and you got somebody that keeps feeding this fear, this chaos, for he's doing it for his own reason, but he's feeding that. And so when you got this owner however the call went out on social media for to come to his car dealership, then maybe he bought into that, or in the sense of the police were afraid to even go and try to have any people stationed to defend his property. Mm-hmm. But my point regarding the defund the police, really and truly, there's no way that we can live in society in the way that we look at a society without having the law or without having a structure in place, the police in place. There's just no way to get around that. So if that man that owns the car dealership bought into that, then that's just him buying into it. And then you still got other stuff being fed on that. It's not as bad as what is being made out to be. I just looked at something this morning where they were talking about 93% of the protests have been nonviolent. Only about 7% throughout the country for the last 3 months or 4 months or so have been violent. But when you just have the news portraying just the sensational part, and not, I guess it's boring to show people just walking around singing and protesting. But 93% of the people, these protests have been nonviolent. They just showing the 7% that isn't. And then you got somebody that keeps every day stoking this stuff up, and scaring the hell out of people, with that. And these black people, you gotta be afraid of them. They doing this or that. You gotta be afraid of them. Gotta put them in jail. Come on now. It's just, it's a time to be, with like the lady said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. You just got people that are frustrated. Us, me, you. I'm looking at you, Marcus, on this screen right now, Brian. That look like us, that are tired of not being treated as a person.
Oh yeah.
Or we got to explain this or that about our actions. That's anyway. It's
I
just
get it.
that defund the police is just that's just a
Yeah.
rabbit trail that he wanted people to go down there. He just took advantage of that and ran with it, and now people getting scared of it just because of him,
Yeah.
throwing this stuff out there.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense.
I'm sorry.
I'm looking at how Brother Marcus, how he verbalized it, and that's 100% correct. Painting the picture, because in psychology, they say one of the highest and greatest learned behaviors is through observation. So if we're hearing this and we're seeing it, and they're saying defund the police, now if someone breaks into my home, I must protect myself. But if somebody's out in the street and they're committing a crime, maybe I need to go and do a citizen's arrest. We must be careful of the rhetoric that's put out there, because it's about cause and effect. And then, Brother Marcus, you mentioned about the young man may get off on self-defense. And then I heard about, as I mentioned earlier, the Second Amendment, the militia. He feared for his life, so he had to stop the other individual from taking his weapon, because if the young man tried to take his weapon, now that person became armed and he had to defend himself. So he had to kill that person. So now we saw all that. We talked about that. What about this phase of it? Kyle walked down the street after killing these individuals, raised his hand up. And Kevin, you just mentioned about law enforcement seeing someone that looks like us, or in the court system, and they hear us, they see us, but they do not really attach to us. But Kyle walking down the street with the AR-15 straddled around his shoulder, hands up, and the police drove right around him. Excuse me, sir. What if that had been you or I?
Oh, we would have been shot right then and there. Gone, dead. It made me think back about the Black Panthers when they went to the California State House in '67. I think that was like in the summer of '67, July or August or something, '67. And they were not breaking the law. They had these rifles and shotguns and other weapons, and they walked in there, and that was a symbol, what they were doing, and then lo and behold, the law changed quick. Can't carry no gun up in no state buildings or nothing. I mean, it changed quick, and so the thing is that, that's still going back to the law being applied one way depending on how you look, and the law being applied another way depending on how you look. And it happens every day.
Now, it's a shame that it happened that way, but I'm glad, because remember back during
I think it did.
Yeah, I'm glad that the
they
people
drove
saw
right
it.
by him.
Yeah, the people saw it. Everyone questioned it. This is the same thing that happened when they in Alabama, when they tried to cross the bridge. This was going on forever, but when the cameras caught it, now all of America woke up. So when this was caught on camera, on film, and how a young man with a weapon, we knew what he did, but the police didn't even stop to question. It makes us say, wow. Brother Mark, what do you think? What is your viewpoint on that?
It's been going on, they felt like he was one of them. He's just walking through the street with his hands up. They had already talked to him earlier. Dylan Roof, they did the same thing, man, sit inside of a church and killed 9 or 10 people. They walked him to Burger King, got him something to eat. it's a European mindset and it's an Afrocentric mindset. You know, all of these different mindsets is different psychologically.
But
You know,
isn't justice the same? Isn't that the
justice,
symbol of justice, to be fair,
justice
to
supposed to
balance
be
the scale?
blind. Justice supposed to be blind, but not when it comes to us. You know, even when you got prosecutors that, you know, doesn't represent the community. Prosecutor is white, his mindset is white. He's saying, oh, they killed somebody in the neighborhood. That ain't my neighborhood, but we're gonna prosecute them to the fullest. You know, okay, you don't even really got the evidence in its entirety, but automatically you want to prosecute to the fullest. Life sentence for 5 people who killed one individual with one gun. How all 5 people get a life sentence because they was in the vicinity? See, so because this is how the mindset is of these individuals. That's why we have to understand how to elect our prosecuting DAs, you know, and people who qualify has to run against these individuals and say, okay, I'm running, even though I may not win, but I'm still gonna run because I understand that we need some equality in this office. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about these individuals, they protecting their livelihood. The prosecutor for Kenosha makes $75,000 to $80,000 a year. He's saying, man, I want to keep this money. I just got in the office. I only been in the office 2 years. There's a lot of other issues that's happening in Kenosha. You know, a little girl kills the guy who rapes her, you know, 16 years old, then burns his body up. You know, somebody wrote a letter to the attorney general as well as to the prosecuting DA's office saying, look, man, y'all went about this all wrong. You know, so it's a whole bunch of issues going on in Wisconsin. We just happen to come in on this particular issue, you know, and then Black Lives Matter and all this, the election is coming up. We have to pay close attention to the distractions. You know, Rittenhouse is one distraction. Blake situation is another distraction. They saying, well, we ain't talking about the police being removed from office or being fired. They haven't been even fired or charged. You know, we're not even thinking about that anymore. We're talking about other issues going on.
Yeah, I think they're on administrative leave right now, but
just administrative. You shoot somebody in the back 7 times, you're on administrative leave, you're getting paid. This thing is serious. But because you say we keep worrying about they change. No, we have to change these situations, and we have to go in numbers and understand who the head of different aspects of where we going, what we trying to go to. We're going to the Attorney General office in Wisconsin and get Josh Carl, who's the head Attorney General, you know, for all the DAs in Wisconsin. We talking to him personally. We talking to the head DA, Michael Gravely, personally. You know, we saying, look, man, we need action here. We don't need no protesting. We ain't come to protest. We come to get action.
Well, let's bring it back home. I mean, don't get me wrong.